Spoiler warning. The following is an in-depth analysis. If you haven't seen this arc, you may want to before watching this review. Welcome back to my series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reviews. Last time we covered the Duelist Kingdom arc, and this time I was thinking of talking solely about the second one, but then I realized that there's not a lot of content there. So, I thought about doing a combo review. The second and third arcs of the original anime. This review may be a tad shorter than the others, mostly because there really isn't a lot to talk about with these two storylines. The second arc of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! is called the Legendary Heroes arc. It ran from February 20th, 2001 to March 6, 2001. It's only 3 episodes, but they're worthy inclusions to the series as a whole. So, let's get into it, shall we? The arc begins with Seto Kaiba deciding to fire a group of executives at Kaiba Corp known as the Big Five. In the last arc, this group had planned to take over Kaiba Corp following Seto's supposed demise during the Duelist Kingdom tournament. The group challenges Kaiba to a virtual game, and if he wins, they will resign from his company. Kaiba enters into the game, but it's clear that the Big Five have hacked into his system as he is captured by the witty Phantom, who intends to sacrifice Kaiba to the Five-Headed Dragon, the game's main boss. Mokuba escapes and goes to Yugi and his friends for help. Yugi, Joey, and Mokuba get into virtual pods, which in turn send them into the virtual world of the game. The world as a whole reminded me a lot of the Elder Scrolls franchise, as it seems like the gameplay is like an RPG. The group enters into a tournament with the hope of getting an item to help them cross the desert, and Joey is fought by a mysterious figure who uses Heart Reality cards. Realizing this, it is revealed to be Mai Valentine, who was testing the game for Kaiba. The group steals the item that they need to cross the desert, eventually coming up on a maze. Joey hears a girl crying and tries to rescue her, with Mai getting slightly jealous over the chemistry between the two. The four become guests at a royal feast where the princess explains the legend of the Five-Headed Dragon. Yugi and company prepare to go fight, but the princess is captured, which is revealed to actually be Mokuba in disguise. Mokuba then rescues Seto, who breaks free and fights to get out. Yugi, Joey, and Mai fight on, destroying many obstacles on their way. They reunite with the Kaiba brothers, but it is revealed that the Big Five have actually cheated, and they summon the legendary Five-Headed Dragon on their own, in the process forcing Yugi and the others to fight using only Dragon-type monsters. The team fights, but it's clear that their monsters are no match for the Big Five's beast. After many sacrifices, Yugi and Kaiba team up, summoning the Dragon Master Knight to destroy the Big Five's beast and win their freedom, as well as reviving their fallen friends. They then escape, their task completed. As far as character interactions go, or any character bits, there really isn't a lot to talk about, except that this is the first time where we actually see Kaiba and Yugi teaming up and working together to defeat a common enemy. And it certainly won't be the last time we see them teaming up. Now on to the third arc. This arc is known as Dungeon Dice Monsters. It ran from March 13th, 2001 to April 3rd, 2001. And is also a 3-episode arc. Hey, go figure. But there are some interesting ideas here, both in the manga and in the anime, as both versions have very different stories from each other. Also, please note that I might butcher a name or two, mostly due to the fact that I have pronunciation issues sometimes. So, please bear with me. Anyway, let's get into the manga version. The manga version of this arc ran from chapters 77 to 84, and as I mentioned earlier, this version is far different than the anime one. In the manga, Duke, or rather Ryuji Otoji, engages Yugi in a game without the Millennium Puzzle to prove who the rightful owner of the puzzle is. Aside from that, there's a backstory given about Ryuji, as his father actually challenged Yugi's grandpa to a shadow game in order to gain ownership of the Millennium Puzzle. But Ryuji's father ultimately lost, and he became horrifically deformed. Mr. Otoji later had Ryuji, who wants revenge on Yugi's grandpa for what happened to his father. But instead, he ends up facing Yugi himself directly. The reason behind their encounter is pretty fascinating as well, as some security guards actually stop Yugi thinking that he is shoplifting some booster packs from a shopping store, which are actually planted by Ryuji's father in the first place. The guards confiscate the Millennium Puzzle, and they force Yugi to battle against Ryuji in a game of Dungeon Dice Monsters, with the events of the gameplay being more or less similar to how they were in the anime. Again, I apologize if I butchered Ryuji's name, but thankfully, the butchering is over. Now on to the anime version of this arc. Duke Devlin invented a game called Dungeon Dice Monsters, and he presents it to Maximilian Pegasus, who says he likes the idea. Pegasus then makes a deal with Duke that he will announce the game worldwide after his Duelist Kingdom tournament, and he says that he will let Duke know when he does. Unfortunately, due to Pegasus' disappearance following Duelist Kingdom, Duke blames Yugi because his game never took off as Pegasus promised it would. Duke forces Joey to duel against him, and when Joey loses, Duke forces him to become his personal servant, putting Joey in a dog costume and humiliating him. Although, at the same time, creating some awesome comic relief for the audience. I mean, come on. That's awesome. Duke then challenges Yami Yugi to a game of Dungeon Dice Monsters, and if Yami loses, he must stop playing Duel Monsters forever. Regardless, Yami agrees. Yami eventually wins, even though he's at a huge disadvantage because he doesn't know the rules of the game. And after losing, Duke later apologizes for being a jerk, upon which he and Yugi become friends. As far as character bits go in this arc, it's quite fascinating. The manga version offers us a situation in which Yugi has to fight, well, not fight, but a situation where he has to play against a major villain of an arc without the assistance of Yami, or Dark Yugi as he's known in the manga. But the funny thing though is that this is the first time where in the manga, I don't know about the rest of the manga, but I'm gonna see if I can check it out. This is really the first time where we see Yugi in the manga fight without the assistance of Dark Yugi. And it certainly won't be the last. I know that there are a few more instances where Yugi fights in the anime without Yami Yugi, but I don't really know about the manga, so I'm gonna have to check and compare and contrast. And the anime version is pretty cool too. It makes for an interesting successor to Duelist Kingdom. I'm gonna give the Legendary Heroes arc a 3 out of 5. It has interesting ideas, but the events of this arc have no effect on the overall story, aside from Yugi and Kaiba teaming up at the end. And as for the Dungeon Dice Monsters arc, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. It makes for an interesting successor to Duelist Kingdom, as it tells us an interesting story of a boy living in Domino City during the events of the tournament, as well as just the differences between the manga and the anime version of the arc. What are your guys' thoughts on these arcs? Please post your comments down below. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and comments. And join me next time for a review on the Battle City arc. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.